So much for spending some time with me. Before we jump into the tutorial, does anybody have any questions that I could write down and make sure that I answer and cover? Kind of go through it. Go through it. Okay. And you can put anything in the chat. I'd be happy to help. All right. So our platform is called Title Capture, and I can ask Carrie for a list of everybody's emails and sign you up directly. So Title Capture automatically populates populates our fees. Let me show you what you'll be seeing on your screen. Can you see it? It says all client data. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with just your basic seller net. At the end of the day, your client wants to know how much money they're going to make, right? In any transaction. So unless anybody has an address they want to pop up in the chat, I can go ahead and just create one off the top of my head. But does anybody have one I can do that? Maybe you have a listing and you want to know? You can just put the address in the chat. No? Okay. Then I'll go ahead and just put one up. All right, we're going to do just a basic house in Lyndhurst. Okay. Now you're going to go ahead and put the property address in the top one. Now, as you notice, there is a drop box. If you do not click on the drop box, it will not calculate correctly. Okay. You're going to choose a branch. 9 out of 10 times, you guys are going to be working with the Pepper Pike office. Truly doesn't matter what branch you put in for Ohio Realty. Okay. Next is your sale price. Let's just say we'll do a basic 160,000 sale price, and the default date automatically goes 30 days out. However, you would just click on this and it'll bring you to the next date. Okay. But we're going to stay in June, and then we're going to do an example for after the middle of the year when the second half taxes were due. Okay. So you can kind of see what the difference would look like. So first, we're going to start with a closing date of June 16. As we scroll down here, you'll see additional transaction details. There is nothing necessary to put in there. Okay. Manual adjust title fees, don't touch it. Not necessary. Now, the next one is mortgage payouts. Now, a lot of people want to know how much they're going to make with their current outstanding balance. If you can avoid this, I say do it, because no matter how many times you're going to say this is an estimate, your seller is going to hold you to this. Okay. So if you don't have to add the mortgage, don't, but this is where you would put it in. Okay. Cap amount. So let's say the seller is adamant that they want to know how much money they're going to make after their mortgage. And let's say they have an outstanding balance of $100,000. As today, May 17th, it's going to be different by the closing date. Okay, so then commission. Here is where your commission comes in. Now, you could either have a flat or graduated. So for this particular example, we're just going to say that we are going to do a flat amount, percent. Okay. Now, 9 out of 10 times, sellers don't really care to see what the listing agent's getting versus what the buyer's agent's getting. However, there is a place, let's say sellers, listing agent's getting 4% and the selling agent is getting 3%. Okay. You can break it down that way also. Now, let's say, for instance, you just had a flat dollar amount. You would just do this drop down box right here and switch it to dollar amount. Any questions so far? I don't see anything in the chat. Moving right along. So the transaction fee right here is where your Keller Williams admin fee is. Taking a guess, I don't know exactly how much it is, but I'm going to say it's $195 for some reason. That just rings true. But maybe you're on a team and it's a $499 or $495. That is where you put it under transaction fee. The next touchy subject or touchy place that I would avoid if you can, homeowners association. And I'll tell you why. You're going to have your homeowners association dues. There's a drop down from monthly, annual, semi-annual, quarterly. Let's say it's a monthly amount. That's fine. You would put that here. Did they pay it? Yes or no? Here's why I avoid homeowners associations unless they are in. They are typically ran by third parties. Those third parties have additional fees. Okay. So, and they're prorated, which this will automatically populate prorated fees, but it's not going to show you any additional third party fees. Okay. So if they want exact, I'd almost leave it off. Okay. If they want exact with estimated HOA, this is where you would put it. Okay. But this house doesn't have an HOA, so we're going to move on. property taxes. Property taxes are usually where sellers have the most questions, okay? Property taxes are in arrears. So what you paid for in January of 2023 was from January through the end of June 2022, okay? So just in case, so now we're getting to the middle of the year, we'll kind of go through a different example, but let's just say only first half taxes are due. Can you see that I switched the screen to my county? You can? Okay, thank you. All right, so you are going to go to any county's auditor site for taxes, not the recorder's. All right, so we're going to pull up 1334 Croydon Road, and it's just going to automatically pull up that property. So forgive me if you guys have done this before, but this way I'll just kind of walk you through where you find taxes. So each county looks a little bit different. Cuyahoga County is definitely the easiest to understand or to go through. You're going to go to summary by tax year. Okay. And bring it down, and it's going to show you that the annual taxes are $4,736.44. Half your taxes are $2,368.22. Half of last year has already been paid. Second half of last year is due, and that'll happen in July. So 2368.22. Now you're going to go back here. 2368. 2368.22. 2368.22. You know how hard it is to here is critical. When you have your property taxes, make sure you go to your drop down. First half has been paid. If you don't do that, your calculations are going to be wacky. Okay. So as of June 14th, whatever our close date was, only the first half was due. So other expenses, lots of sellers are still offering home warranties. This is where it would go. It's let's say 39. Now let's say your seller wants to do concession. You're going to add seller concession. Okay. We've got every single thing covered here. Next, you're going to calculate. For this particular property at $160,000 sale price, they are going to, at the end of the day, $38,105.85. All right. Now, it is going to list all of our title fees. Then it's going to show conveyance fee and parcel transfer. Does anybody want me to review what a conveyance fee is for sellers? Okay, Allison. All right, perfect. I see your hands up, so I'm going with it. Okay, a conveyance fee. 88 counties, all 88 counties in Ohio have this conveyance fee. It is a mill tax. Okay, so $1 to every $1,000, and it can go up to 4% in any of these counties. Okay, those taxes can go for agriculture, it could go to just to the net city, whatever, but it's called a conveyance fee, and it is a fee to transfer your title as a seller to the buyer. And that is a seller expense. Okay, the mill tax. So millennial. Okay, anybody, any questions on that? I think I see anybody. Okay, so your seller's going to want to know that. Like, what is that?
Janelle, how is it $640 when you said it was $1 for every $1,000, and that house was $160,000 house?
It's a 4% mill tax, so it's
4%, not 1%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
So it can go from 1 up to 4%, depending on the county.
Okay.
Okay. So next, we showed our payoff.
I do have a quick question.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Ahead. Yeah, you said you had found the taxes on which site? It wasn't the auditor site. It was the.
It is the auditor site.
Yes. It is the auditor. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So like the recorder site, you're going to see all public records, like your deed, quitclaim deeds, affidavit, transfer of, So think recorder is for like all recorded documents. Auditor site is mostly for taxes. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. So next, under real estate broker commission, it's going to break it down. So you don't have to break it down because the seller's paying for everything anyway. Usually, if someone asks me for seller's net, I just put it all under the listing broker commission. It doesn't truly matter. They think you guys make all the money anyways, and unless you want to break it down, you can put it there. Okay. So now let's get to this awesome prorated property taxes. This is where your sellers usually have conniptions if they don't understand it, okay? So I'm here to help you. So county taxes credit from seller, $2,147.68. Now, that is for the second half of 2022. Because by the time of this June 14th close date, the seller is not going to be living there anymore, but the buyer is going to receive a tax bill for the second half of 2022. Does that make sense? I don't want to lose anybody yet. Okay, good. So we're just going for the top part of this prorated taxes. So seller is saying, okay, Mr. Buyer, here is $2,147.68 for July through December of 2022 because I own that house. All right. Now, collection, $2,368.22 is from the seller. That is based off the last certified tax rate from January 2023 through June 14th, 2023. So they have to credit for the seller has to credit the buyer for the time they owned that house. Okay. Now, sellers say, do I have to write the buyer a check? No, they're just going to get less proceeds. Buyer is going to say, am I going to receive a check? No, but they're crediting you, so you owe less at time of closing. So for instance, you have a cash buyer, not coming out of, you have to say, hey, cash buyer, don't forget, you owe property taxes to make sure you have that money in your bank account. Did I lose anybody on that part? I'm just looking to see your eyes. Some people don't like their That's fine. No? Okay, you guys are awesome. Sweet. All right. Okay. And then finally, the seller expense for the home warranty and then your concessions. That's where that kicks in. Okay. Any questions on this? Okay. So here's what I want to share with you. If we push the close date out, it's gonna be a little bit different. And so this is where you're kind of coming into this time of year, end of June, early July, your taxes, you gotta, have me do it or you do it. Look at the auditor side. And because this is working it tricky. All right, so now you see my sheet. Say I want to edit it. We're going to get rid of the concession, right? Let's say get rid of the concessions. So you just click on edit. And we're going to change this close date because all of a sudden the seller's house didn't go through. So we're going to put this back a month. The 7/16/2023. Now we pushed it back a month. What does that mean? Your seller. Does anybody have any idea with taxes?
It's going to be more money owed to the seller.
Boom. Sit, Eric. That's the way. Okay. Because taxes, the second half of the year before, taxes are due to the county typically first week in July, usually end of June, early July. So now you're going to change this drop down box to taxes have been paid for the entire year. Now we're going to calculate this bad boy. Let's see. So they're netting more, exactly as Eric said. Okay. They're netting more because they already paid the second half of last year. So now they only have to credit the buyer from January 2023 through July 14th, 2023. That makes sense? All right, how about do you guys want to do one example with a graduated taxes? Graduated commission. Yeah, that's all you need. Graduated commission. Let's try it. We'll do a quick one. Let's just say we're doing the same scenario, but this time you guys negotiated your commission. So you go back to edit. Now you're going to go back to real estate commission. You're going to get rid of these bad boys right here. All right. And now you get to go down to the drop box. Graduated. We're going to say we're going to do 7% on the first 100,000, 5% on the second from anything on. So the 60,000 in there. Okay, so 7/5 split. Transaction fee again is $195. Property taxes, again, never forget to drop it down. Taxes have been paid. We're going to calculate. So here's where your is going to change. Okay, they're going to net a little bit more. They're going to make a little bit less. All right. Will come up? Yeah. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Wow, you guys did it. There's a couple of ways you can send it to your seller. The cleanest way, I like to download mine and then just send in an email. It just looks cleaner. Or you can just send it directly here from your, you can just email the recipient directly from the website. All right. The only other thing I want to share with you is sometimes you're walking into a listing appointment and you're like, well, I'm kind of have an idea of where we should list this, but I want to give them some options. Sorry, my son's coming off the bus and my dog's meeting. Okay. So now you're going to go back to new estimate and then sellers multiple offers. Okay. So same screen, you're going to be at this home screen, new estimate, seller multiple offers. I'm just going to do the address. Oh, Braden Road in Lyndhurst. Again, the branch is Cleveland. That's just it. Nothing, no additional transactions. There's no adjusted fees. We're not putting a payoff. Forget the payoff. I'm telling you right now, it'll just alleviate headaches. Just forget it. The taxes, I'm just going to guess. Again, I'm going to do that, but if we did, we wanted to look at the outer site. And we are going to say that we are going to push our close date out to August. And again, we're going to say taxes have been paid. All right. So and here's a tip, guys. In the summer, as it gets busier, if you can avoid holiday weekends, try to avoid Friday closings. Everybody wants to move on the weekends. What happens if we don't get back to back? So try to push for like Thursday. I mean, if you close on a Friday, you got to close on a Friday. However, if you can avoid it, give yourself that extra day, that extra cushion. Why not? Why stress yourself out? And like July 4th, okay, so really quick here, July 4th falls on a Tuesday. Odds are that Monday or that Wednesday, they're probably, you could be working with skeleton crews. I don't know when it's the bank holiday, if it's just the 4th, if they have the 3rd or 5th up too. So just be cognizant about those dates and times. Shoot for Wednesday or like the Wednesday before. Just always think further for your client to say, hey, we want to close on July 3rd or 5th. Well, guess what? That's like a holiday. So just try to stay away from it. It's not like we're not here. Everyone's working, whatever. Okay, moving on. Just a couple tips. All right. So now let's say August 1st is our close date, right? So your first offer, I always say buyer one is just an option. You don't have to like get crazy and recreate the wheel. So let's say we're just going to do again, 160,000. You don't even have to play with the loan type because you're just helping them out, just showing them their options and how much they would net. All right. Expense and credits for the sake of this example, we're not adding anything because you're just meeting them at your listing appointment. So in this first scenario, I've had some agents, they'll do 160 at a 6.5 graduated, and then second offer will be 160 at a 6 flat. Let's say for this instance, we're just going to do a 6. Right, transaction fee 195, that KW admin. All right, that's option one. Option two, our second buyer's coming a little bit higher, or you want to see the difference between 160, 170, same thing. Okay, so that's where you're going to put your second offer. Commission, 6, let's just say 6, 195. Okay, so here you're going to give them two options, two price points to see how much they would net. Your first offer, it's going to show you here that at 160,000, they're going to net 146. And at 170, they're going to net 10 grand more, 155-ish. Okay. So that's just another way that you can do this. And the cool thing about this site is it automatically saves. So then if ever like you've done an estimate for somebody and you have to go back and amend it, just go to all estimates and you're going to pull off the estimate that you created, and then you can edit it from there and play around with it. Okay. Anybody have any questions or any other examples you'd like me to go over? Easy enough. Okay, well, I'll ask Carrie for everybody's emails. Would everyone like to be signed up for title capture? Yeah.
Yes,
Here's the thing
please.
too, you always know that you can call me, you're gonna have my, thanks guys. You're gonna have my email, and the cool thing is if you do it from your platform under your name, it'll have my picture and phone number on there. So if they have questions, you say, you know what, call my title partner, give Janelle a call. That's my cell phone that'll be on there if you ever want to take a stab at it, or it's this really great tool to bring to a listing appointment. Okay. One more tool I want to share with you, and we're not going to go over it now, that could be a whole nother thing, is if you ever, when you're going on your listing appointment, if you want to make it even more special, that you really, you know, laid it all out for them, you can request what's called a tax and legal. It's free and it is sharp as sharp can be. You email me, I'll get it for you. It's gonna have your face on there, and then it'll have the history transaction of the property. It'll have comps. It'll have the deed. So you're walking in and you're gonna beat everybody out of that listing presentation. So just know there's some resources that, in addition to the seller net, that you can have, and just use me as a resource. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. If everything was too fast and you have questions, you can always call or email me.